Welcome to College Football Bowl Predictions video. This is week 2 of the 3 weeks for bowl games. So week 2 brings us on Monday, Washington State versus Utah State, 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Utah State is a 1.5 point favorites. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl. This will start our second week of bowl games on Monday. Both teams just looking forward for the future, by the way. Of course, 6-6 record. If I had to pick one of them, I think Utah State prevails. Utah State wins by 5. On Tuesday, Tulsa Rockets take on the Louisville Cardinals, 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Louisville's a 7-point favorite. This is the Bush's Boca Rojas Bowl. Louisville had a good year, 8-4 record, of course. Questions will be around Miller Moss and his future. Will he stay at Louisville? Jeff Brom, of course, great coach, by the way, for Louisville. What a coach for Louisville. They're going to take on Tulsa, who their head coach, Jason Candle, left to UConn for the job. And so now without a head coach, things are not going in the right direction. So take a look at this game. Louisville should win this by 10. Western Kentucky taking on Southern Miss at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Western Kentucky is a 2.5 point favorite. This is the New Orleans Bowl game in New Orleans. So for Western Kentucky, 8-4 record, Conference USA, all of us know that. But tough loss in the Conference USA Championship game, losing to Kennesaw State Owls. They're going to take on Southern Miss, who unfortunately they don't get the bowl, they don't get the Sun Belt title game for this year, and unfortunately Charles Huff leaves to Memphis, and Ben Anderson, their offense coordinator, has been promoted as the next head coach of the Southern Miss football program. So that being said, Western Kentucky wins. They win by 4. UNLV taking on Ohio at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. UNLV is a 6.5 point favorite. This is the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl game. UNLV, last time we saw them, lost in the Mountain West title game to Boise State in first year head coach Dan Mulling. Top one for UNLV. But can they respond back against Ohio, who their season has been interesting? They won the MAC title game. Tim Alvin leaves to be the Charlotte 49ers head coach. Brian Smith becomes the head coach of Ohio. They finished the season 8-4. And then last week, Brian Smith, their head coach, has been fired for cause. So they're searching for a new head man in Ohio. That's going to affect the Bobcats players a lot. So give me the Rebels of UNLV. They win by 10. Then on Wednesday, you got Cal taking on Hawaii at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Hawaii is a 1.5 point favorite in the Hawaii Bowl, which is very interesting to name that game the Hawaii Bowl. But Cal won an impressive season, 7-5 here. They get the quarterback from Oregon, not Dante Moore, the other one, the left-handed quarterback who went to Oregon and then decided to go somewhere else where he could be a starter. What a way for him to go to Cal and finish the season with 7 wins. They're going to take on Hawaii, a team in the Mountain West who will look forward to next year because no Boise, no San Diego State, none of those teams are going to be there because they're going to the Pac-12. That Mountain West will be wide open. Hawaii could be that team to keep an eye on. And take a look at this game. I think Hawaii has enough to pull the biggest win. Give me Hawaii winning it by 3. Then on Friday, you got the Central Michigan taking on Northwestern at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Northwestern is a 10.5 point favorite in the Game Above Sports Bowl game. So Northwestern 6-6 record. They get the bowl eligible after last year's 5-7 record, and things were not going well last year, but this year has been a little impressive this year. They're going to take on Central Michigan, who their season finished the season 7-5. Give me Northwestern winning it by 11. New Mexico taking on Minnesota at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Minnesota is a 2.5-point favorite in the Rake Bowl. This should be a real good test for Minnesota because for Minnesota to finish the season 7-5, all questions surrounding who their new quarterback was going to be. Max Brosman, unfortunately, remember he left to go to the draft, and they didn't worry about Max Brosman. By the way, they feel confident in this year 7-5 record. Now going up against the most surprised team in the Mountain West, New Mexico. Despite not making to the Mountain West title game, they still get the bowl eligible, and it's a tough one for them. And take a look at this game. I could see New Mexico State pull off the upset, but I think Minnesota prevails. Minnesota wins by 4. FIU taking on UTSA, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. The Roadrunners of San Antonio are 6-point favorites in the First Responders Bowl game. Lot of good games, by the way. This one should be a fun one for the Panthers of Florida International. Finished the season 7-5, going up against San Antonio, the Roadrunners, who had a great year, of course, 6-6 and their quarterback Owen McCown should improve next year. Take a look at this game. Roadrunners win by 4. Now we get to the big games on Saturday. These are the big games on Saturday. We start with Pitt Panthers take on the East Carolina Pirates at 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Pitt is a 10-point favorite in the Go Bowling Military Bowl game. Pittsburgh, they had a chance to they had a chance to go to the ACC title game. What was upset for them was to lose to Miami. Yeah, top one for them. Going up against Eastern Carolina in the American Athletic Conference. Yes, they may not win the American Athletic Conference, but they're in the great position of next year's American Athletic Conference. And take a look at this game. I think Pitt prevails. Give me the Pitt Panthers winning it by 5. Then what could be the most intriguing bowl games of the weekend? Penn State taking on Clemson at 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Clemson is a 3-point favorite. Both these teams were going to be in the college football playoffs, early favorites, by the way, and they had disappointing seasons, and one of them has to win. So, who wants to talk about it? Well, let's start with Penn State. Obviously, they fired James Franklin after the loss to Northwestern, and they managed to clinch the bowl eligible, all thanks to their interim head coach, Terry Smith. And we know already Matt Campbell is their next head coach for 2026, so they're looking forward to for next year. Going up against Clemson, on the other hand, who they were the favorites in the ACC, and they went downfall. Finished the season 7-5. Not a good season for them, but Cade Klutnick had some injuries along the way. Take a look at this game. This is the Bad Boy Mowers Pencil Strip Bowl game. This is being played in Yankee Stadium. So that being said, who needs it more? I have to take Clemson. I think Clemson wins. They'll prevail it. Penn State wins. No, Clemson, by the way. Sorry. Clemson wins by 5. UConn taking on Army at 2:15 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Army is an 8.5-point favorite in the Fenway Bowl game. So Army coming off a tough loss to Navy in the Army versus Navy game. Will look to respond against UConn, who are looking forward to next year. Coach Jason Candle will be their next head coach for the Huskies. So give me Army winning it by 10. Down to the game of the week. This is the bowl game of the week. Number 22, Georgia Tech versus number 12, BYU at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. BYU is a 4-point favorite in the Pop-Tarts Bowl game, and this is being played in Orlando. This should be a fun one because it's Haynes King versus Bear Baltimore. Both quarterbacks can throw, but they can scramble. They can scramble with their legs. Both offenses are legit, and I know tough seasons for both of them. Of course, BYU really tough one for them because losing to Texas Tech twice in the regular season and in the conference championship game hurt them the most for them. And they will look to do it against Georgia Tech, who also had heartbreaking moments. Of course, losing to Pitt at home, a chance for them to win, to get into the ACC title game. I think this should be a great game, and I'm going to take BYU. Give me the Cougars winning it by 3. Following that, you got Miami of Ohio taking on Fresno State at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on the CW Network. Fresno State is a 6-point game in the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl game. Should be a fun one between two teams that are look forward to next year. Miami, Ohio, tough one in their conference championship game, losing toughly, heartbreakers for them. Going up against Fresno State, the Bulldogs. Hopefully they don't forget this year because it's an impressive year, and they may not win the Mountain West, but they are looking forward to the Pac-12 next year. And take a look at this game. Fresno State should win it. Fresno State wins by 7. 25th, North Texas taking on San Diego State at 5:45 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. North Texas is a 3-point favorite in the New Mexico Bowl. For North Texas is a tough one because Eric Morris is not the coach anymore. We're expecting a new coach coming in next year, so y'all should know who it is. Go look at the college football coaching carousel, which is Neil Brown. But it's a tough one. This has been a great year for North Texas. Just not getting in the playoffs is heartbreaking for them. Going up against San Diego State, finished the year 9 wins. Very impressive for them. Look to win their 10th game of the season and look forward to next year's Pac-12. And take a look at this. Look, if North Texas wins, yeah, it makes sense. So give me San Diego State winning it by 5. Number 19, Virginia taking on Missouri at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Missouri is a 4-point favorite in the Gator Bowl. So Virginia losing the ACC title game. You don't get the college football players, which is a little tough for them, by the way. Had a great year, Cinderella football team, but unfortunately losing to a 7-win team Duke. Going up against Missouri, who obviously we know their quarterback, Bo Pablo, is not returning to this team. He's going to the transfer portal. So that does leave the door for Virginia. So give me Virginia winning it by 4. And then finally, LSU taking on 21st ranked Houston at 9:15 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Houston is a 3-point favorite in the Texas Bowl. Yeah, so Houston, 21st ranked, of course, a great year under Willie Freitz in his second year as the Cougars head coach. And Connor Wegman, how about that? From the starter of Texas A&M, gets benched for Marcellus Reed to becoming the starting quarterback for Houston Cougars. Transferred there. Impressive year, 9-3. They're going to take on LSU, the Tigers, who we know Lane Kiffin's the next head coach, so they're looking forward to next year. So I think, with that being said, if LSU wins, it should be a great way to say we're looking forward to next year. So give me LSU. They win by 3. And that's it for College Football Bowl Predictions video. This is the second week of bowl weeks, because then when we get to the third week, yeah, chaos will happen. If you have not seen my other videos, go check them out on my channel. Of course, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for more sports news.